नहि नहि रक्षति दुःखिनकरणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् मूढ़ जहि धनागम तृष्णा पुरुषबुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णा यल्लभसे निज कर्मोपातं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चेतं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् नारीस्तनभर नाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागा मोहावेशम् ईतन्मांस वसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् नलिनीदलगत जलमतितरणं तद्वा जीवितम् अतिशयचपलं विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रतः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जर देहे मातां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवती वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्रति तस्मिन् काये भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःखिनकरणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दम् हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Krishna Mataji. Nice Kirtan Mataji is sing so nicely. Beautiful. Okay, I'll share. We have to do prayers by Chitraketu. We finished so many prayers. Prayers by Vedas is there. Prayers by Chitraketu. And maybe one more is there in the list of prayers. Let's begin with our prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Ajnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll share. Actually, we have to do chapter 16 from verse 34 onwards. Prayers by Chitraketu. But we need some background of why Chitraketu is praying and who was Chitraketu, To understand that, we'll have to visit a few chapters before that. Now, what happens is, we read in prayers, in Vritrasura chapter, Indra kills Vritrasura, and this Vritrasura, how was he such a great devotee? How can a demon like this have so much devotion for Narayana? So this question will come up. So there is this background that Vritrasura in his previous life was King Chitraketu, and what happened actually for him to take birth like this, and why was he trying to kill Indra? All that background is given here. So in this one, what happens is, here in this chapter it is just given Indra fought Vritrasura and he killed Vritrasura. See that given here. But Vritrasura is actually a Brahmana. He was born, he was a Brahmana, so that was a great sin. So Indra understood that. He killed him. He says, the demigods advised Indra to perform an Ashwamedha sacrifice by which Narayana would be pleased, for the performer of such a sacrifice is not implicated in sinful reactions even if he kills the entire universe. So he performed all this. In spite of that, there was guilt in him. So here it is. Indra could understand that he was certainly entangled by sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Indeed, he could see sinful reaction personified following him, and thus he fled here and there in fear, thinking of how to rid himself of his sins. He went to Manasarovar, and there, under the protection of the goddess of fortune, he meditated for 1,000 years. So when he was missing, there was this king Nahusha who reigned the heavenly planets, and he performs, he commits some mistakes. That is another pastime. That is another story where Nahusha, he behaves very arrogantly and he falls down and he takes the body of a serpent. Now, Indra later performed a great sacrifice with the help of exalted Brahmanas and saints. In this way, he was released from the reactions of his sinful killing of a Brahmana. So they're talking about Vritrasura. Now, Parikshit Maharaj is hearing all this. So he is asking Shukadeva Goswami, how is this possible? He says, in this 14th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj asked his spiritual master Shukadeva Goswami how such a demon as Vritrasura could become an exalted devotee. In this connection, the previous life of Vritrasura is discussed. This involves the story of Chitraketu and how he was victimized by lamentation because of the death of his son. Okay. So, see, there are so many living entities, and among so many living entities, human beings also exist. And what happens is Chitraketu's story we all know. Chitraketu didn't have any children, and he was longing for a son. See, Chitraketu, who had no sons, got an opportunity to meet the great sage Angira. When Angira inquired from the king about his welfare, the king expressed his moroseness, and therefore, by the grace of the great sage, the king's first wife, Kritadyuti, gave birth to a son, who was the cause of both happiness and lamentation. Upon the birth of this son, the king and all the residents of the palace were very happy. The co-wives of Kritadyuti, however, were envious, and later they administered poison to the child. Chitraketu was overwhelmed by shock at his son's death. Then Narad Muni Angira went to see him. So all the other wives, they get envious because she is getting all the attention. Kritadyuti and the baby are getting so much affection, so much attention. They become very envious. So they plan to kill the baby. They poison him and kill him off. Now there is lamentation. Chitraketu is really in great lamentation. He seems he was crying loudly. because after a long time this baby was born, and now he can't take the separation. It is very, very, very sad. So the saints Narada and Angira instruct King Chitraketu. They actually instruct him about the spiritual significance of life. They want to give him spiritual knowledge. And then they bring the baby back to life. Narad Muni brings the baby back to life, and the child actually speaks. So let's read this. So the great saints Angira and Narada explained that the relationship between father and son is not factual. It is simply a representation of the illusory energy. The relationship does not exist, did not exist before, nor will it stay in the future. So what they are saying is, on a larger scale, we take different bodies, we'll have so many parents, so many fathers, so many mothers. So who is our real father? Who is our real mother? Right? That's the point. And the child also will say that, why did you bring me back? He'll say, and he'll say, oh look, this mother and this father, you're talking about these two, but were they my parents in the previous birth? So these are temporary. The child only speaks like that. One should not lament for temporary relationships, but this attachment and this entanglement is so strong that only self-realized souls can actually understand this. In spite of that, they have to go through pain. Arjuna himself said, I will have to lament. I will feel a lot of pain if my grandfather, all my gurus, if they die in this war of Kurukshetra, it is going to hurt him. He expressed that. But what did Krishna say? He said, you have to tolerate. That's what he said. So the entire cosmic manifestation is temporary, although not unreal. It is not unreal, it is just temporary. It does exist, but it is not eternal. So by temporary arrangement, a father begets a child, or a living entity becomes the child of a so-called father. So they try to tell him all this, but nothing is helping him because he's actually feeling miserable. Okay, so they are saying all this. When one searches for happiness in matter, one must certainly lament for bodily relationships. Self-realization means spiritual realization of one's relationship with Krishna. Such realization ends one's miserable material life. So what is self-realization? So nicely it's given here. One sentence it's given. It means realizing our relationship with Krishna is actually self-realization. And what do we do? We perform activities with devotion, devotional service. And what is the goal? To go back to be with Krishna, to Goloka Vrindavan or wherever, you know, um, to get the association of the Lord, to be part of his pastimes, all that. Such realization ends one's miserable material life. So now, Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord. See, because of sage Angira, Narad Muni, he gets this benediction to meet the Supreme Lord. Chitraketu had actually, laughed at, he actually, when he was flying in the plane, he saw Lord Shiva sitting with Parvati on his lap and speaking to great personalities. It was a nice assembly of sages and all. So that's when he actually wonders, why is Shiva sitting like this? He smiles, saying that, look at this. How is Shiva sitting like this with Parvati on his lap? He laughs, and Shiva understands why this person is looking like this and looking at me and laughing or mocking. He doesn't take offense, he just smiles. But Parvati thinks this is arrogance. No, it's not nice. So she punishes him. So, and then he accepts the punishment. He does not, he could have actually, see, great devotees are like that. They are very, very humble. So that point is discussed in this chapter. We'll go through that. Can someone read this, please? Hare Krishna. Hmm.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord. As related in this chapter, Chitraketu was able to talk with his dead son and hear from him the truth of life. When Chitraketu was appeased, the great sage Narada gave him mantra, and by chanting this mantra, Chitraketu found shelter at the lotus feet of Sankarshana. The living entity is eternal. Thus, he has neither birth nor death. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. According to the reactions of one's fruitive activities, one takes birth in various species of life among the birds, beasts, trees, human beings, demigods, and so on, thus rotating through various bodies for a certain period of time. One receives a particular type of body as a son or father in a false relationship. All our relationships in this material world with friends, relatives, or enemies consist of duality, in which one feels happy and distressed on the basis of illusion. The living entity is actually a spiritual soul who is part and parcel of God and has nothing to do with relationships in the world of duality. Therefore, Narada Muni advised Chitraketu not to lament for his so-called dead son. After hearing instructions from their dead child, Chitraketu and his wife could understand that all relationships in this material world are cause of misery. The queens who had administered poison to the son of Krutadyuti were very much ashamed. They atoned for the sinful act of killing a child and gave up their aspiration to have sons. Thereafter, Narad Muni chanted prayers to Narayana, who exists as Chaturviha, and instructed Chitraketu about the Supreme Lord, who creates, maintains, and annihilates everything, and who is the master of the material nature. After instructing King Chitraketu in this way, he returned to Brahmaloka. These instructions about the absolute truth are called Mahavidya. After being initiated by Narad Muni, King Chitraketu chanted the Mahavidya, and after 1 week, he attained the presence of Lord Sankarshana, who was surrounded by the 4 Kumaras. The Lord was nicely dressed in bluish garments with a helmet and ornaments of gold. His face appeared very happy in the presence of Lord Sankarshana. Chitraketu offered his obeisances and began to offer prayers. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So nice. And in these prayers, what are he says? We'll see. So now, Shukadev Goswami said, my dear King Parikshit, by his mystic power, the great sage Narada, see, Narada Muni has so much powers, actually, brought the dead son into the vision of all the lamenting relatives and then spoke as follows. Narada Muni has powers, but he does not use it, as he wishes. He uses them for certain purposes like this. See, he brought this dead son back. And then what happened after that? O living entity, all good fortune unto you. He's speaking to the soul. Just as your father and mother, all your friends and relatives are overwhelmed with grief because of your passing away. Because you died untimely, the balance of your lifetime still remains. Therefore, you may re-enter your body and enjoy the remainder of your life because it was an unnatural death. He was poisoned, so there was some time left. So he's saying, go back to your body now. Surrounded by your friends and relatives, accept the royal throne and all the opulences given by your father. Narad Muni is saying, go back. By the mystic power of Narad Muni, the living entity re-entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narad Muni's request. He says, according to the results of my fruitive activities, I transmigrate, that is, the living being transmigrates from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of demigods, sometimes of lower animals, sometimes among the vegetables, and sometimes in the human species. Therefore, in which birth were these my father and mother. He's asking. No one is actually my father and mother. How can I accept these two people as my parents? He's telling that the kid is ready to move on in this material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity. All people become friends, relatives, and enemies in due course of time. So, they also act neutrally. They meditate, they despise one another, and they act in many other relationships. See, when we see something, it's like Mataji was explaining one day, when somebody is watching a movie, say they have finished half the movie and somebody enters and they see some violence going on and they say, oh my God, this movie is not good. So much violence. What is this nonsense? But this person will say, but you don't know what happened before this. See, this scene is actually justified. It's like that. We see a small part of something and say, oh, this sounds so unfair. But we don't know what happened before. See, Abhimanyu also, he was there for a very short while. We wonder, oh, no, no, this is not fair. Such a young boy died, and his son, Parikshit Maharaj, was fatherless. We look at it as a very sad story. But in his previous birth, Abhimanyu was a demon. It was his wish. He surrenders to the Lord, and he says, oh, please forgive my sins, and I don't want to go back to earth. He just doesn't want to come back here to the material world. He has this desire. But the Lord says, because of all that you have gone through, all the activities you have performed, you will have to go there anyway. Then he says, please bring me back faster. I don't want to be there too long. You're going to a horrible place. It's at least I want to come back fast, make it very short. I want a short trip. So that's why his life was this short, because that was his desire in his previous birth. After he gave up his body, this is what was his desire. He wanted to leave the world soon. So he died when he was a teenager. Really. He was a teen when he died. So like that, what happens before that, we don't know. And same thing with Dhritarashtra also. He asked Krishna, how did I lose all my sons and why did this happen? And Krishna says, so many years back, like 50 years or so back, you had killed 100 eggs. You had killed, and because of that, now you lost all because of that sinful reaction, which came back, you lost all your children. But and then he had all the 100 sons because he had collected some punya also. So to get one son, a person needs so much punya, and to lose it also there is something. It's all like that. Everything is done as per nature, and which is our own activities and desires that's causing all this. And the Lord, what does the Lord do? He sanctions, he oversees and sanctions. But we end up blaming him for everything. So he's saying no one is permanently related that way. Just as gold and other commodities are continually transferred from one place to another in due course of purchase and sale, it is like, he says another example is given here. Somebody has a pet and is taking care of him nicely, and then that animal is sold to somebody else, and the affinity is lost. Somebody else is the parent now. So it's like that living being also, from one owner to another, like that, different bodies. This is all temporary things going on. Our eternal relationship is with the Lord in our eternal kingdom of God. So even though one living entity becomes connected to one with another because of a relationship based on bodies that are perishable, the living entity is eternal. So after hearing all this, everybody is hearing this. Chitraketu, his wives, they they feel very they're kind of consoled now. The living being actually has no relationship, he's saying. So under these circumstances, one should not be falsely involved with jubilation and lamentation. Then here, see, so much is speaking. All this is saying basically the same thing. And then Shukadeva Goswami continued, when the conditioned soul in the form of Maharaj Chitraketu's son had spoken in this way and then left, Chitraketu and the other relatives of the dead son were all astonished. Thus they cut off the shackles of their affection, which was due to their relationship with him, and gave up their lamentation. There is another analogy mentioned in one of the classes. It is like when you board a plane, there's so many people with you. All the passengers are there, but you barely know them, right? You just until you get off or out of the airport, they're all there with you. So that's how the world is, they're all there until you exit. It's like that. It's a short journey. Nobody is actually related to anyone. So after the relatives, the only relationship we have is because of Krishna, because of God, we're all connected that way. After relatives, the relatives had discharged their duties by performing the proper funeral ceremonies and burning the dead child's body. They gave up the affection that leads to illusion, lamentation, fear, and pain. Such affection is undoubtedly difficult to give up, but they gave it up very easily because of Narad Muni, Angira, and all this, whatever they heard from the living being, that boy who spoke. They actually could. Actually, it is not easy for a person. No normal person cannot give up so easily. He will still be lamenting for few years, or maybe we don't know. Depends. 1 year, 2 years, we don't know. But they could. So now the co-wives also, after hearing all the spiritual knowledge, they were ashamed. They felt, oh, what did we just do? And they lost their bodily luster. See, a person's heart, if it is contaminated and it has too many anarthas, the body also will lose its luster. It will not look beautiful. You see all those devotees, how they're shining. They're so effulgent. While lamenting, O king, they remembered the instructions of Angira and gave up their ambition to bear children. They didn't want to have children also now after this, completely detached. Following the directions of the Brahmanas, they went to the bank of the Yamuna, where they bathed and atoned for their sinful reactions. And same thing, Chitraketu will also do. What does he do? Being very much pleased with Chitraketu, who was a self-controlled devotee and surrendered soul, Narada, the most powerful sage, spoke to him. He gave him some instructions. He gave him a mantra. He says, O Lord, O Supreme, Narada gave Chitraketu the following mantra. This is the mantra. This is the meaning of the mantra actually. Let's click on it just to see. This one. Om Namastubhyam Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Shankarshanaya Cha Namo Vijnana Matraya Paramanandamurtaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Nivritta Dvaita Trishtaye. So this is what the mantra he gave. The meaning is here. O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, who are addressed by the Omkara, Pranava. Om is also Krishna only. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, O Lord Vasudev. I meditate upon you, O Lord Pradyumna, Lord Aniruddha, and Lord Sankarshana. I offer you my respectful obeisances, O reservoir of spiritual potency, O supreme bliss. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are self-sufficient and most peaceful. O ultimate truth, one without a second, you are realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and are therefore the reservoir of all knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. And what did Chitraketu do? He chanted this for a long time. Perceiving your personal bliss, you're always transcendental to the waves of material nature. See, so much is there. Let's see what happened now. Shukadev Goswami continued. Narada, having become the spiritual master of Chitraketu, instructed him fully in this prayer because Chitraketu was fully surrendered. He was ready to receive. So, O King Parikshit, Narada then left with the great sage Angira for the topmost planet known as Brahmaloka. Narada Muni keeps on traveling. Fasting and drinking only water, Chitraketu for 1 week continuously chanted with great care and attention the mantra given by Narad Muni. See how they take the instructions of their guru and they actually perform it properly. They follow the instructions 100%. Like Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That will take care of everything. Krishna takes control, complete control of the devotee. Whoever is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will never see any defeat. It says, no, wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Archana, there is opulence, victory, all this. We read that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Partha Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayar Bhutis Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Like that, Krishna takes control. Prabhupada says, you just have faith, keep chanting, don't give up. So he does that, and after 1 week, what happens? After only 1 week of repeatedly practicing the mantra received from the spiritual master, Chitraketu achieved the rule of the planet of the Vidyadharas as an intermediate product of his spiritual advancement in knowledge. Within a very few days, by the influence of the mantra, Chitraketu, which he had practiced, his mind became increasingly enlightened in spiritual progress, and he attained shelter at the lotus feet of Anantadeva. Upon reaching the shelter of Lord Shesha, Chitraketu saw that he was as white as the white fibers of a lotus flower. You know, Balram is white. Then Nityananda Prabhu also. See, Ananta Shesha. They're all, expansions. There is the Balram is Lord Shesha. So he actually saw Lord Shesha, who was so white. He was dressed in bluish garments and adorned with a brilliantly glittering helmet, armlets, belt, and bangles. His face was smiling, and his eyes were reddish. He was surrounded by such exalted, liberated persons as Sanat Kumara. So this is what Chitraketu saw. He got darshan of Lord Shesha. As soon as Maharaj Chitraketu saw the Supreme Lord, he was cleansed of all material contamination and situated in his original Krishna consciousness, being completely purified. No material attachment, no material desires. That's what it means. Becoming purified means no anarthas in the heart, no anger, lust, kama, krodha, mada, lobha, matsarya, none of that. No envy, no material desires. He became silent and grave, and because of love for the Lord, tears fell from his eyes. He saw the Lord, it's not easy to get darshan so easily. And his hair stood on end. With great devotion and love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead. So he actually saw the Supreme Lord. With tears of love and affection, Chitraketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet because his voice was choked in ecstasy. He didn't know what to say, so it was right in front of him. For a considerable time, he was unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabet to offer the Lord suitable prayers. See, for 1 week he chanted the mantra. Now, when the Lord is in front of him, he's not able to speak. He's too overwhelmed. So and then he controlled his mind with intelligence, and by restricting his senses from external engagements, he recovered suitable words with which to express his feelings. And then he starts offering prayers to the Lord, who is the personification of the Holy Scriptures. Satvata Samhitas, like the Brahma Samhita and the Narad Pancharatra, and who is a spiritual master of all. Krishna is the original Guru for everyone. He offered his prayers as follows. See, from 34 only we have to do. From 34 to maybe 10 shlokas are there. What all he says is quite interesting. Let's see, 1 second. We'll do like 2 or 3, and then remaining we'll do in the next. So let's see what he says. Chitraketu uvacha ajita jita samamatibi sadhubhir jitatmabhir bhavata vijitaste api cha bhajatam akamatmanam ya atmado ati karunaha. Let's see what it says. O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. See, he was controlled by gopis. All the gopis made him dance. They sang, he danced, and he laughed among them. They used to make jokes, and he was part of all that. He gave them so much pleasure with his childhood pastimes. So he was like a puppet in their hand. So they're saying that they can keep you under their control. That's why Krishna doesn't give bhakti so easily, because we can purchase him by bhakti. Then it's like Prabhuji was saying, like Krishna is in you can keep him in the pocket. It's like that. If there is true bhakti, devotion, 100% devotion, then Krishna becomes so intimate that he is very reciprocative. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them. Because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. He's controlling their senses too. Morning Bhagavatam, if you attended, there Mataji is discussing Damodar Leela, Damodar Janani. The book is called Damodar Janani. In that, today's situation was very interesting, where Krishna is hugging his father so tight because his mother had tied him up, and his father sees that and is consoling him and all. So now Yashodama is actually feeling kind of little guilty, and she's in her room. So much happened, and the child kind of those two came out of the trees, Arjuna trees, and this little Krishna was bound to this water, and he was crying. All this happened. People are noticing all this, and Nanda Maharaj asks who did this, and Krishna says this was all done by mother only. Then after consoling him, after speaking all this, he'll say, your mother is actually, she wants to see you because Krishna is behaving very upset with his mother right now. He's hugging his father. He says, "No, I'm not going to mother." And then some other gopis say, "How can you say you will not go to your mother? She's the one who gives you milk." He'll say, "No, I'm a big boy now. I won't need any milk anymore." And then she says, "She plays with you. She sings to you. She, kind of has so much going on between you all." But then she says, "No, whatever it is, I'm not going." So Nanda Maharaj is like, "Oh, look at this kid. He's saying all this. Doesn't want to go to Yashoda." And because usually Yashoda is the one who is very close to him, this baby Krishna. Now he's hugging his father so tight and he's burying his face in his chest and he's saying, "No, I'll play with you, Dad. I'm not going to mom anymore." So now Nanda Maharaj is thinking, how do I fix this? So he says, he puts him like on his lap, and he says, "Okay, son, I'm actually your father. So I understand what you're gone through. Not only that, I'm the king of this place. So I have to do justice. Here, since she has punished you so badly, she tied you to the mortar and she's done all this, I think she needs to be punished, and she needs to be given a very great punishment. It could be death penalty, something like that, He says very serious. And now Krishna gets very scared. He says, "No." He says very loudly, "No." His mother, he doesn't want his mother to be punished. He sits straight and looks at his father and says, "No, he doesn't want her to be punished." So he's using reverse psychology to get him back to his mother. So it's so beautifully she was explaining this pastime. And the way he says no, it seems the other planets, they also could hear. It went up, it reverberated all over the universe. Meaning it is something like stressing on my devotee never perishes. Nobody hurt my devotee. It was sounded like that. No, mother, nobody punished my mother. It was like that. Sometime back he was saying, "I'll not go to Yashoda anymore." And now when he said she'll be punished, immediately he's saying, "No, no, no, you cannot do that to her." So it was very sweet. So it's like this. They can keep you under their control. So the devotees who are very pure in their heart and who have so much love for Krishna, Krishna also has more love for him. It is not partial, but he reciprocates accordingly. So the Lord and the devotees both conquer. The Lord is conquered by the devotees, and the devotees are conquered by the Lord. Because of being conquered by one another, they both derive transcendental bliss from their relationship. All the gopas who went to play with Krishna, they all had so much fun. Krishna was carrying them, they were massaging his feet, he was massaging their feet, and Balram is also massaging Krishna's feet. Krishna is also massaging Balram's feet. So there's so much love, which is like when we say we are the servants of the Lord, it is not like in the material sense. They don't want to think about that word servant, because why should I serve anybody? I'm the boss. Why should I serve? But the on a transcendental platform, it is like it's a very sweet relationship. We are subordinates to Krishna, but it's like family. He gives us so much love that he serves the devotees too. It's like that. The highest perfection of this mutual conquering is exhibited by Krishna and the gopis. Krishna danced with all the gopis, and he was dancing with so many gopis and all. Materially, it looks like, oh, this boy is dancing with so many girls. That's how it looks like. but Krishna was a very small boy when that happened. Rasalila took place. But Bhishma says that. Bhishma says, if I was, he was a brahmachari. He had taken an oath to be a brahmachari for life. He says, if I was surrounded by such beautiful girls, the gopis are very beautiful, beautiful girls dancing, music and all that, I would be disturbed. Krishna was not. So he says, imagine, Krishna's position is, he's another platform. So you cannot even look at it in a materialistic way. So the gopis conquered Krishna, and Krishna conquered the gopis. Thus, whenever Krishna played his flute, he conquered the minds of the gopis. They would drop everything and run. They would be busy taking care of their regular chores and stuff, but on a sweet evening, when the breeze was so cool, Krishna on the banks of Yamuna, when he played his flute, they would just rush to the banks of Yamuna. They would just enjoy there, they would just go, drop everything and go. Other transcendentalists, such as Gnanis and Yogis, cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only pure devotees can conquer him. By knowledge and by all these austerities, you cannot conquer Krishna. Only by love. That's the only way you can conquer God. How? By love. It says only pure devotees who have so much love for him, their heart is overfilled with love. Only they can achieve Krishna. Pure devotees are described as samamati, which means that they never deviate from devotional service under any circumstances. It is not that devotees worship the Supreme Lord only when happy. They worship him even when in distress. Happiness and distress do not hamper the process of devotional service. Therefore, Bhagavatam says that devotional service ahaituki aprajyata, unmotivated, uninterrupted. That's the kind of love, unconditional love. There is no motive behind loving Krishna, and it's uninterrupted. No matter what happens, it's fine. So one very elevated devotee was saying, whatever condition it is, the body is sick or whatever, the service goes on, love goes on. And because that is all Krishna's arrangement. If that's what Krishna is happy doing, so be it. We'll go through it. It's like that. Whatever Krishna wants. When a devotee offers devotional service to the Lord without any motive, that is anyabhilachita shunyam, his service cannot be hampered by any material condition. Thus, a devotee who offers service in all conditions of life can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And little goes a long way, we know. Little also goes a long way. Like Lord Ram also, when the Setu was being built, there was this squirrel which was also bringing some tiny particles of sand and stones and all. So some of them were looking at the squirrel and saying, what can this little tiny creature do? Because they were bringing big, big boulders. Hanuman was just plucking things from the mountains, big, huge boulders and stones and rocks and all. This little squirrel was trying to do something. Then they were looking at him, and Lord Ram said, let him do. That is his service. You know, whatever he can do, I accept it. So it's like that. Little service also goes. You just offer one flower, one tulsi leaf, give some water, whatever we can offer, everything counts. A special distinction between devotees and other transcendentalists, namely the Gnanis and Yogis, is that Gnanis and Yogis artificially try to become one with the Supreme, whereas devotees never aspire for such an impossible accomplishment. Devotees know that their position is to be eternally servants of the Supreme Lord and never to be one with Him. We are not on the same platform. Actually, we cannot be equal at all. We are never equal. Nobody is equal to Krishna. But then there is this complete Ramayana series going on Saturday and Sunday. In that, they were explaining Lord Ram. It seems when he's sitting down to eat, they're offering him food, and then there is banana leaf, and he calls Hanuman. He says, "You eat from that side, I'll eat from this side." Hanuman is like, so Hanuman is always sitting at the feet of Lord Ram. Why would he eat from the same plate? He's like so overwhelmed. The Ram is like that. It's so much love. He's not looking at the hierarchy, like, this is my servant, so and I treat him like this. Nothing like that. He keeps everybody in his heart. He says, you eat from the other side, I'll eat from this side. That's Ram, Lord Ram. So much love. And he also, when Vibhishan surrendered, to Lord Ram, it seems he did Pattabhishekam then and there. And everybody is like, the war is not over and we've not yet killed Ravana. I mean, nothing is done yet. So what if, there is still a question mark, right? The war can be like this. But they know Lord Ram will definitely win, Sita will be back. But still they say that this question comes up. So Lord Ram will smile and say, then I will give him Ayodhya. If I can't give him Lanka, I'll give him Ayodhya. Then, but Bharat is there in Ayodhya. How can you give Ayodhya then? What about Bharat? Then they say, I'll give him Vaikuntha planets. He's ready to give Vaikuntha to Vibhishan for surrendering, So that is the magnanimous, that's how magnanimous his heart is. So a special distinction between devotees and the other transcendentalists, namely the Gnanis and Yogis, is that Gnanis, they are artificially trying, but devotees who serve him, who are surrendered to him, they are on different platform altogether. They detest oneness with the Supreme. They have no lusty desire for oneness. Just a minute. We'll finish off this paragraph. They have no lusty desires for oneness. Instead, their desire is to be freed from all material hankering. Like Kunti Maharani says, just no, I want to cut all my attachment from my children, from all my relatives, from all this, so that I can be free from all this and be with you. No, therefore they are called nishkama, desireless. A living entity cannot exist without desires, but desires that can never be fulfilled are called kama, lusty desires. Kamaistair hritagnyana. Because of lusty desires, non-devotees are deprived of their intelligence. Thus they are, see, lusty desires only. Ravana, so many soldiers were dying every day from his side. He seems used to throw them into the ocean so that, the number of count could be less. If 100 people die, they say only 9 died, nothing happened. That's how, because the enemy should not come to know like that. And then his brothers and Kumbhakarna also said, what are you doing? Please return Sita. He did not. So because no matter what, I will not give up my attachment to Sita. I want to, you know, own her, something like that. So no matter what, they cannot give up. A living entity cannot exist without desires, but desires that can never be fulfilled are called lusty desires. Because of lusty desires, non-devotees are deprived of their intelligence. He lost because he was quite a gnani, but he could not give up Sita. Thus, they are unable to conquer the Supreme Lord, whereas devotees, being freed from such unreasonable desires, can conquer the Lord. Such devotees are also conquered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they are pure, being free from all material desires, they fully surrender to the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord conquers them. And they don't even want liberation. They just want to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. And because they serve the Lord without desires for remuneration, they can conquer the mercy of the Lord. See, Hanuman was flying, doing so much work. Again, Ramana example. He plucked the Sanjeevani hill and flew with it because he couldn't find the Sanjeevani booty, the plant. He took the whole mountain. He was not thinking, how much will Lord Ram pay for this? What will I get in return? He was not thinking all that. He just wanted to serve the Lord, and he had unlimited mercy of the Lord. Lord is by nature very merciful. When he sees that his servant is working without desires for material profit, naturally he is conquered. When Krishna is there, automatically everything else is there. So all the activities of their senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Because of such devotion, the Lord gives himself to his devotees as if they could use him for any purpose they might desire. Of course, devotees have no purpose other than to serve. When a devotee fully surrenders and there's no aspiration for material profit, the Lord certainly gives him all opportunities for service. This is the position of the Lord when conquered by his devotees. We'll do the remaining in the next session. We'll do that. And there are such beautiful shlokas. Stop here.